everyone, I'm Jean, and I'm here today at the Rockville branch of the Pamunkey Regional Library. And today we have a really fun project for you. We're going to be learning how to make these cute little leaf macrame earrings. Wearing some right now, and I also have another set right here that has a different color combination. They are pretty trendy right now. You see them on Etsy or in some shops, and they're very easy to make. So also, if you happen to live near the Rockville branch, we are going to be having an in-house program on September 11th. It's for teens and adults. You just sign up online at our Pamunkey calendar webpage, and we will be making those in-house. All the supplies will be there for you, and you can come make them with us. So first thing, let's get started on talking about what supplies you would need to complete this project. So the first thing you're going to need is some kind of yarn, thread, macrame cording, something like that. I will say that we have tried numerous of these here, and we have had the best luck with something that is a cotton-based rather than just a normal yarn. Here we have regular yarn. Here's a more cotton-based kind of yarn. We've also tried them with embroidery floss, which gives a really delicate, pretty outcome. The only thing that's a little bit difficult with the other items, and you'll see this one, like I said, works best. And the only other thing that you'll notice with the others is that later on when we get to the part where we're actually combing out the threads of the yarn or the thread, it combs out a little bit nicer if you use something that's a cotton blend like this. But again, you can use whatever you want. You can also, it's really fun to make these extra large with macrame cording like this, and you can actually make big leaves if you didn't want to make earrings, and you could hang them from a macrame piece or just a really pretty branch, something like that. It makes a nice decoration. So you can do this type of process to create numerous kind of projects. Okay, so you're going to need some kind of yarn or thread. Again, I recommend this kind. Next thing you're going to need is some type of earring bail, and you can see the kind I have here, very simple French wire, I believe they're called. You can get those pretty inexpensively at any hobby store. You're also going to need either a comb, the finer the tooth, the better, or oddly enough, a dog or pet brush works really well. You'll probably need a little bit of water, either in a cup or in a spray bottle. So I like to use a piece of cardboard to tape down your earring piece. And typically what I would do is just tape this down like this. And then as you're working, it just anchors your work so that it's not all sliding around. It makes it a lot easier to tie the knot. Today, I'm going to be using larger items just so that it's easier for you to actually see what I'm doing. So I'm just using this little triangular piece of jewelry here. I'm going to tape that down, pretending like that is one of these. It's basically just going to hold my spot. And then I have cut some larger pieces of yarn. Obviously, you wouldn't use this kind of yarn if you were making earrings, but I've just felt for visually it would be a little bit easier for you to understand what I'm doing. So first thing we're going to do is feed our end through your earring piece. And typically, I usually like to make this about an 8-inch piece of yarn or thread. We will be cutting it later, but you just want it long enough that you can work with it. Again, I'm working in a larger scale right now, but typically this piece of yarn will be about 8 inches. And then you're going to need, to complete a full pair of earrings, you're going to need 32 pieces of 6-inch yarn, thread, whatever you're using. Today I only have 2 of each because it's just a demonstration. And I'm using 2 different colors so that it's a little bit easier for you to see the difference in what I'm doing. So you have your piece straight down like this. That's going to remain there as much as you can. And you're going to take your yarn, fold it in half to create a little loop on the end. And you're going to put one piece under this center piece, like that. And then you're going to do the same thing with your other piece. And you're going to, this one is going to be going over this center piece. So I'm going to grab the ends of the blue through there and then put the ends of the brown through the blue loop. So basically what you're creating is a square knot, and then you're going to pull them to tighten and just shift it up. So there you have one square knot. And we're actually going to be making 8 of these. So that's why you need 16 for each earring, because it's 2 to make one square knot. All right, so now we started with, we just want to do kind of the opposite so that they're, this little, if you can see this little piece, let me see if I can get it closer to the, you see this little piece right here, we want to get that on this side next time. So now we're just going to do the same thing, we're just going to go in the opposite directions. So we'll start underneath, we'll still always start underneath, but this time our loop is going to be facing to the right. We're going to take our brown loop and face that to the left over top. Grab the blue tails and stick the brown tails through the loop. And when you pull, you can see that now the blue is on this side. Can you see that? And that just makes it really nice because then you can, when you slide it up and tighten, it makes it nice and even. You have one on each side, so it just is going to lay really nice. Okay? So we're going to do that a couple more times just so that you really get the principle. So this time, I'm going to put the brown loop underneath, facing to the left. The blue loop over, facing to the right. Grab the brown tail, stick this through the through the blue, and there you go. Slide it up. All right, one more time. Make a loop to the right underneath. Make a loop to the left over top. Stick it through the loop and pull. So there are actually many different ways you could actually do this. If you wanted your leaf to be all one color on one side and all the other color on the other side, you would just have to make sure you reversed your colors every time. I personally like the random look, the random variegated look. I think it just is a little bit more interesting. So I didn't really pay attention to that. As long as you're going back and forth with your knots, everything will lay really nice. Now, as I said, you would do 8 of these on each earring. And I'm going to show you, now that you have seen this in a larger scale model, I'm going to show you what they actually look like if you use the actual earrings that I was talking about. All right, so here's one that I've done before. I'm going to just comb this out a little bit so you can see. This is how it would look. Okay, and this is using the cotton fiber, which is really pretty, and this one was a variegated cotton fiber. So your finished product would look something like that. There's 8 of those, 4 on each side. When you get to this point, what you want to do is take, this is still your centerpiece here. You want to take your last 2 strings and tie them in a knot. And that just secures this spine from unraveling. It just secures it a little bit. So just tie a little knot there. So once you have both your earrings done, they'll look like this. And if you're really good at cutting out shapes, you could just cut out a leaf shape freehand. You can also make a little template like this ahead of time. I feel like this is really useful because it keeps both your earrings pretty much the same shape. So what you're going to do at this point, you can either mark it with a pen. I like to initially just make a really loose cut. Don't cut right up to the paper. I'm just going to make a really loose cut around. Okay. So now we have something that looks like this. Now we're going to actually do the comb out procedure. Again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, and if you're using a yarn that isn't cotton, probably might be a good idea to not do this part because it won't actually work quite that well. You can mist your leaf at this point with some water, or you can just dunk it in a little bit of water. I like to wring it out as much as I can. Just dab off the wetness a little bit. And then you're going to put it onto your table or your cardboard if you're using a piece of cardboard. Tighten up all your knots just by pulling each end. Then take either your comb or your pet brush, holding the spine really tight, just start combing it out. And all you're doing is trying to separate those little fibers. As you can see, it's kind of, see the difference? It's a little bit separated out. You just have to make sure you're holding the spine, otherwise it could unravel what you just did. And don't be afraid to do this. You really can't be too rough with it. Okay. All right, so this is what we have right now. So now you can take your template, place it on there again, and this time cut right around the template. I like to do it in my hand. Doesn't have to be perfect. Leaves are not perfect. Okay, so there you have your leaf earring. And if you want, if it still doesn't look the right shape that you want, you can always fine-tune it until you have exactly what you want. cute is that? So here's what the pair looks like complete. I hope you all enjoyed the video for how to make these little macrame earrings. And if you are around the Rockville branch on September 11th, our in-house program is at 1 o'clock. You can come and make these and all the supplies will be provided. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next time.